Greetings, Slushies. In this, our final encore episode for the summer, we revisit two poems from Glenn Shaheen. We hope you enjoy the conversation. We'll be back in your feeds with a brand new episode on September 9th. Thanks, as always, for listening.
To the Painted Bride Quarterly Slush Pile. I'm so glad that you're choosing to listen to us today with all the pods out there. But, we check every now and then, and we are still the only one here at the Painted Bride Quarterly Slush Pile who is doing what we do. What we do is our regular submissions come in, and as we're reading through them, every now and then we go, oh, wow, this would be a great one for the show. And so then we write the poet, ask them for permission to discuss their work on air instead of a private editorial table. And most folks say yes very quickly. They say, scared to death, but sure. And then we are honored by our ability to have what is a normal editorial meeting for the most part for us, but record it and then share it with you. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy it. And thank you very much to Glenn Shaheen for today's poems. We're going to be reading two of those poems after we take a minute to introduce ourselves. So I'm Kathleen Volkmiller, and I'm in my home in Collingswood, New Jersey right now, and I'm very excited to be here recording with everybody today. And I'm going to bounce it more than 6,000 miles away to my dear, dear Marion. Hi, Marion.
Hello. There should be a sound effect with that, like boink. I'm Marion. I'm here in Abu Dhabi, and Slushies. It rains here now. It rains a lot here now. Oh, the climate change. Oh, the climate catastrophe. And I'm going to bounce it now to Canada.
Oh, thanks, Marion. I was going to say you needed to receive yours with a splash, so so I'll receive the wet ball back. Yeah. So yeah, greetings from Canada, where my bit of happy food today is that I love going to the grocery store these days because there's this young fellow who works there who always has a song stuck in his head, and we end up trading song lyrics. And most recently it was the Muppet Show theme song, but often it's other like old and old. Exactly.
That's great.
So with that, I'll bounce it down to Jason.
It's time to get things started.
Yeah, it's time to light the light.
Yeah, well, it's time for us to do that too. Yeah, so I'm Jason Schneiderman. I'm happily in New York, back from my travels, maybe looking forward to more travels. I was just in Mexico. It was really nice. It was just relaxing. And I will send it to Isabel.
Hello, I think I'm the only one in Philadelphia today, but I'm Isabel, student co-op listening in today.
And you can chime in as you see fit, Isabel, of course. And we have Heath. Hi, Heath.
Hi, Heath.
Hey, Heath.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
I guess you are also in Philly.
I am. Isabel, we're in Philly together.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Solidarity.
Nice.
All right. All right.
City's so nice they named it once.
I was just
also it in Mexico, Philadelphia is just a cream cheese. Like when you buy Philadelphia, it doesn't say Philadelphia cream cheese, it just says Philadelphia.
Really?
And then like in the corner it's like queso crema, but like
Jason,
this is a box of Philadelphia.
That is so fascinating because I'm on TikTok. I unashamedly share and get a lot of recipes, and international people will go add a block of Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Because we don't do that here. Isn't that funny? But like I've heard that already, that they go, oh, I love Philadelphia, and they put in a block of cream cheese. But you know what? Can I just keep the mic for one more second? Isabel and I were talking about a lot of things yesterday, and one of them was that her father prefers to go to New York than Philly, which is a problem for me. So
Because there's too
But
much to do when he visits. And if he was in Philadelphia, he could do so much more of what's
Yeah.
available in a single
Well,
day.
you know what I didn't get to tell you, Isabel, because we just kept chatting. The AWP conference was in Philadelphia a few years ago. And so all of these New Yorkers were down, and I'm friends with a lot of New Yorkers via Marion, via Jason, of course. So, hanging out with people all the time. And I was like thrilled, but maybe more appalled at how many New Yorkers would see each other and go, "It's great here. There are fabulous restaurants. Have you been here?" Like total amazement. I want to come back. The train was fast and easy. It's so great. It's so easy to get around. I've been to every neighborhood. And I was like, shut up.
Yeah,
Like,
Well,
totally.
loving
this
and
is
hating it. Like, really, people?
all New
Yeah.
Yorkers are in a toxic relationship with New York. New York is like the worst boyfriend who like ignores you
Ever.
and like
That's
insults
so
you and cancels
Right.
plans, and you're just like begging for its attention.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia loves me. Like I love Philadelphia. Like I'm so happy when I'm there. And New York does not love anyone. Like New York is like, oh, did you want to come? Get in line. Get in line.
Right.
There's a
A
line.
toxic
Like, that's New York.
relationship is
Everything in New
a
York is like,
line.
there's a line. Whereas Philadelphia is like
And
this
it's way
wonderful
the hell
welcoming place.
back there. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And
toxic
so
relationship. I'm sorry. I was going to say that is a great example, because also what I laugh at New Yorkers about is everybody stays in their own little neighborhood. You find your own little routines and you just stay, like it's not like you're
Yeah.
really exploring the whole city all the time. So in that way, it's like a toxic relationship too. You just stay stuck in your little patterns, you little New Yorkers.
It's
Not
all
you,
true.
Jason.
It's all true. No, it is all true. Everything bad you can say about New York is entirely true, and I never leave it.
But you're so
Never.
happy to be back after your time in England.
I miss New York so much. I really did. And I tried so hard not to. Like I tried so hard to like not be that guy.
Yeah.
But I think I told you this, that like we had this conversation as like other family members of mine were living abroad. And do you say I'm from the United States or do you say I'm from New York? And
Right.
if you say I'm from the United States, people want to talk about gun violence, they want to talk about Trump, they want to talk about like you end up explaining the Electoral College. If you say I'm from New York, people are like, "Oh, I love New York." And you're like, "What did you do when you came?" And they're like, "Oh, I went to the Met and I went to Central Park and I
had a big
so
pretzel.
I always say
Yeah.
New York because it's nice. Everyone has a New York story. They want to share it. And all right, before we get to Glenn's poems, the last thing I'll say is that everywhere I have ever lived is incredibly narcissistic, right? It's incredibly self-involved. It spends a lot of time thinking about itself. The entire world participates in New York's narcissism. The entire world. And so like there's just something nice about having it affirmed by like everyone else that, like you are important. It does matter. Like what goes on here is crucial. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Can everybody answer this at once? If I say 1, 2, 3, when I tell people I'm from Philly, what do they say? What's the first response, no matter where you are in the world? 1, 2, 3.
But that's a
Rocky.
cream cheese.
Rocky.
Oh, cream cheese or
Rocky.
Rocky. That's a
What did you
continuum
say, Jason?
right there.
But that's a
Cream
cream cheese.
Cream cheese. No, they want it. They all know Rocky.
Rocky.
I was
No.
thinking Liberty Bell, but it didn't come out.
Nope, they don't know. They don't want to talk about the Liberty Bell. They know Rocky.
There's not like a generational difference. Like 20-year-olds aren't like 20-year-olds know Rocky.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you,
I
Isabel.
love Rocky.
There
I
you
get that
go.
too, though.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. Glenn Shaheen has been patiently waiting.
I
Thanks,
know.
Glenn. We're sorry.
Thank
To
you.
their
Glenn.
poems. So I think we're gonna have Dagny kick us off with the first poem today and read
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, I'm really delighted, and I hope I don't regret it because I'm just getting over a cold. So I'm a
Oh,
little
you sound fine.
little on the
Yeah.
nasal side, but I'll try and do it justice. It's a very energetic piece. Love it. Imago. I want to forget our world of trash and trash makers, destruction and candied scorpions, celebration and woe. I buy an open world game I heard sucks because it's on sale for $5, and that seems like a steal for a whole world, even a shit one. I paid nothing for our whole world. I paid dearly. If there's a special occasion one day, I'd like to eat at the upscale Mexican place, Sochi, if we're ever over this sickness. I think I forget what it's like to dress up for a special occasion. There are ties, I think, and shoes nobody's supposed to notice. blend into the background. Let the fake candles on tabletops do their work. When you become a poet, you're lucky if you get 3 years before everything you write is an elegy. In the old Beyonce video for Single Ladies, there's the dance moves, of course, but also one little canted angle where Bey and her dancers move up an invisible angle for just one step and back down right again. Is this poetics, the surprise step up and back again? Beyonce wasn't single when she wrote that song. The open world game features NPCs who've been programmed to seem to live a realistic and mundane life. Helicopters are destroying their city, but they yell at cars that don't yield, have fake one-sided phone calls about their dates. What part of our lives do we live in the wretched world in front of 100 strangers a day? We're barely anybody. We're all mourning incalculable losses. Who'd want us dead? The full web unseen. The root system infecting others a mile away. Ringworm. We liked it anyway. We shoulda. Woo.
Great reading.
Oh,
Great reading, Dagny. What a poem.
what a poem, eh? And
Right.
Glenn, I'm so happy I didn't completely flub it. Thank you for the chance to read it. Whoa,
It's
love
wonderful
those
in the
opening lines. They
contradictions.
just grab me. I want to forget our world of trash and trash makers, destruction and candied scorpions, celebration and woe.
Yep.
$5
Mm.
for a shit world.
Oh, yeah.
World, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole poem hangs on that moment of I paid nothing for our whole world, I paid dearly. Like they're both so true and wonderful and clear in that moment. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I know the lens into this poem through that is just like, whoa, very deep and true. If we're ever over this sickness, I haven't thought about this a lot, but it made me think, could be a pandemic poem, but could also just be about the crisis of modern living and affordability. And, it didn't date it in any way for me. It was just
The thing
modern
that dates it
life.
is thinking that Single Ladies is an old song.
Old song, I know.
Yeah,
Like,
And you know what?
Ouch.
I am glad you guys said the word dated. I know that like we do often talk about that, and that's how I talk about it with students. Like, will anybody know this in 20 years? I don't know how old that video is, but do we believe it's lasting, that is that iconic? I believe it probably is. I think it'll stick for a minute, for another few minutes.
Another
It'll
few
totally
minutes.
stick. It's still
Well,
so iconic. Even to the younger generation, it's iconic.
Okay, Isabel, you sealed it.
Wow.
I
Thank
like
you.
it. Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
Isabel.
But
Slushy,
I
you
did have
can't
a
see that.
question.
Dagny just made that gesture from Single Ladies, the hand gesture.
See?
I was confused by the placement of the word right when it says where Bey and her dancers move up an invisible angle. Like I'm totally with you. Okay, like there's something that happens in the video for just one step and back down right again. Is
I
that
know you think it was right back down again. I actually had to
What,
be careful reading it.
It's a
Yeah.
theater. I think it's a staging. It's a theatrical, like stage left, stage right, down right is actually a
right?
theatrical position. So I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like they move back down right is like where they are on it's as I recall, like a white stage, like just a pure white.
Yeah, there's like
Huge
nothing.
white
They're
screen
in
behind
this
them.
no space.
Yeah.
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 And I think
So-
that's what's sort of exciting about the observation is that like there's suddenly depth in this field that is a blank, is a nowhere. And then suddenly there's elevation. And so but I don't know, something about the right again, like every time I read it, like it just sort of felt like a little bit of a speed bump. Like even though I understand, like I
Yeah.
think it's supposed to be that they're stepping right, but I almost needed like where they move up left an invisible angle for just one step and back down right again. There's something that just kind of like there's just like a jarring, like I keep having to every time I go through it, it can't like sort of wash over me. I have to
But
kind
it's
of like
interesting
stop.
because he's talking about that brief canted angle and back down, so it does enact it.
Do you know that I really thought it was only the right foot, and it didn't stop me at all.
Oh, interesting.
You know how they raise that foot and then put that foot down again and raise the foot,
Mhm.
you know, because they don't move a whole lot around the stage. There's a turn, but they're not progressing really, right? They're in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, yeah. So, okay, who can guess how old it is? I did have to look it up. Don't look it up. Yeah.
2011.
Oh,
No, earlier. It's earlier. It's like 2010, 9?
Is that any other
29.
guesses?
2009. I think it's 2009.
Well, I don't know, Marion, you're still over, but you're the closest. It's 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
The last year of
Okay.
optimism.
Yeah.
Last of optimism. I remember being
Yeah.
at Don Lundy Martin's with Stephanie Hopkins and Kristen Dunbeck and I were there, and they were reenacting the dance moves. It was so good.
Awesome.
Too bad you didn't record that.
So good. I was
I
like,
think
I
the
know how to just
image
dance.
may be better
So
than
good.
the recording. Like I just want to picture it myself. I don't think I want to
Yeah.
actually see the
Yeah,
that's a
Kristen
beautiful
Dunbeck was
image.
so amazing. They had it exactly right.
Oh, I
You
love
know
it.
what's funny, you guys? Look how long we just talked about the Beyonce video.
I
And
know.
I know.
when I read it on my own, not today when
Yeah.
Dagny read it, but when I read it on my own, I thought, wow, that was a lot of lines given to the Beyonce video.
Well, and that whole central section begins with when you become a poet, you're lucky if you get 3 years, right? And then that kind of leads us into the Beyonce piece and the idea that is this poetics, the surprise step up and back again. So to me, that whole kind of central, it's like, well, the poem goes meta and it starts looking at itself, because the beginning and the end are much more about this idea of gaming the open world, being NPCs, non-player characters, or background, in other people's lives and so on. And this is doing very different work in this part of the poem. And I love it. It's like the thing I wouldn't have known this poem had needed, but reading it, it's like, ooh. So yeah, I mean, it is a chunky section, Kathy, that kind of steps us outside of the momentum of the piece. And yet it does something really interesting with that momentum, I feel.
Yeah, I totally agree with Dagny that it's echoing against the video games and this idea of these alternative spaces where you can imagine another world, and instead of fixing your own, you retreat into this. And what's the thing that kids say about like the main character syndrome, like where people
Yeah.
like, or like people
She
like
thinks
don't know
she's
they're
the main
NPCs.
character.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's funny because like this isn't a new idea, right? I mean, like the end of Kurt Vonnegut, Breakfast of Champions, is this long explication about how the problem with fiction is that it can't recognize that every single person is the center of their own world, and that fiction creates a sense of protagonist. I mean, these are not new ideas at all, and yet they're playing out in different media. And I thought this like does a really beautiful job of kind of echoing those alternative digital spaces that create retreats while the actual world is falling apart.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I have two things to say there. One is silly. When people say that she thinks she's the main character, my response has always been, but she is, right? We are all the main character in our own worlds, right? So like, but now it's like very much an insult to say she thinks she's the main character, right? But also, I did wonder they on the very next lines, right? Helicopters are destroying their city, but they yell at cars that don't yield. This is like a grammarian thing to do, and I never do this. There was no they referenced, or like who is that they? Just
the NPC.
And why isn't it we? Why is it they rather than we?
It's they because it's shifting the lens onto this notion of the NPCs. They're not.
Oh, Dagny, stop.
We just lost.
Yeah,
you muted yourself accidentally as you talked.
It actually said the host muted me, so I was getting a little worried there. So sorry, I'm back.
All right.
All right, we should leave this in, but Dagny, just say what you just said again.
Yeah, exactly.
This should totally be in the pod. We have technical difficulties sometimes, Slushies. Sometimes we edit them out,
too much.
and we cosmetically smooth over the things that happen. But that's what I think we should.
I don't think anybody would be shocked to hear that, especially with the nature of the conversations we hold and how they play out. But yeah, I think that they very much refers back to the NPCs, which are the non-player characters. So they're like extras.
All right, because
the Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy from a few years ago.
I did see that. That was great.
He's an NPC named Guy, right? Who suddenly finds agency and, messing with the world that he's in.
That makes so much sense. I didn't understand why we went to they and then back to a we in an hour. Yeah.
But I do think this poem is playing too with the notion that we are the they, as well as as well as the main character. But I mean, I have kids who game, so I'm also in this more than some people might. So
Yeah, I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think NPC was a natural
No, it
thing
wouldn't be.
for
I
me.
mean, unless
Yeah,
it's something you
I know
do,
what it
right?
means, but I don't think
Because
about it.
I wouldn't have reason to know unless my kids were gamers, because I'm not somebody who games.
I actively dislike gaming.
Right. Yeah. Like it's just like I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I
But-
love it here. I think it works totally.
Oh,
But I think it goes back to the question that we were sort of pointing out with the Beyonce reference too. It's like the tech world is changing so swiftly, right? Like, is NPC going to become an anachronism? You know what I mean? Like in 5 years, right? Are we going to know what that acronym actually means, right? And I don't know. It's just I particularly like the way this poem is working with all of these layers and speaking with this sort of insider language. But it does raise that question about shelf life.
I'll also
Yeah.
say, like, I mean, one of the things I do sometimes to engage students is I will take them through the sexual vocabulary of Shakespeare's Sonnet 135. And if you know the sexual vocabulary, it is the filthiest poem that has ever been written in English. And if you do not, you're like, what?
Put
Yeah,
that in the
exactly.
notes.
Huh?
That goes in the notes.
That's
And so,
so
I mean,
going
there
on.
are, like, I mean, to some extent, you can't worry about it too much. And I mean, Elizabeth Bishop's last letter is about glossing things in her poems for a Norton anthology. And she points out that the last time, she says they're college students, they can look it up.
Right.
And then she points out that previously, when she talked about the port of St. John, port was glossed as a kind of wine. And St. John was placed in the Caribbean when she's talking about the St. John in Canada. You know, to some extent, like, you write something that works now, and if it stands the test of time, then, you know, scholars will have to go to the library and watch this, you know, 200 millennia old Beyonce video that only survives on the one flash drive that was found after New York was destroyed by a volcano.
Thank
But
you.
I do think too, those are awesome points, Jason. I do also think that this piece says so much that is highly relatable and accessible and understandable. And even as a song title goes, Single Ladies, I mean, that's actually very broad, and it kind of telegraphs a bunch of things to you, no matter whether you're talking about a single lady in the 1920s or a single lady in the 2020s. And there are really only a couple of terms in here that you might go, okay, I don't know what that is, but it doesn't matter.
But I think the momentum of the poem is also tied in what feels like an ekphrastic impulse. Like the description of Beyonce, right, is trying to, I know we're stumbling over it a little bit, but the description of the video is an attempt to recreate or represent the video in the same way, right, that there's an attempt to recreate the shit world of the totality of the world of the game, right? Like, I don't know, like that feels like it's got staying power for sure.
Absolutely, that embodiment.
Well, also that Beyonce wasn't
simile-
single when she wrote it. That the song itself is inhabiting an alternative world. That the song itself creates this sense of autobiography that's false.
Right. And he's connecting it all to poetics, which we haven't talked about. He says, is this poetic? The surprise, step up and back again. And I just realized here, this would be a better insult. You shouldn't say she thinks she's the main character. You should say she's an NPC. That would be more of an insult, wouldn't it?
That would be more of an insult.
Because really, like, this is heartbreaking, but one of my favorite lines in this poem is, we're barely anybody.
Yeah.
We're all mourning incalculable losses. Oh.
Well, it's got the profundity, Kathy, totally, that came earlier on, the I paid nothing for our whole world, I paid dearly, that Jason pulled out. I think both of those are like these incredible anchors that are like emotional anchors in the poem that just, they're profound.
Yeah. Well, I see how this is going, but can somebody, I do love this poem. Why do we not have a period at the end? And what is the, what's the it? The root system infecting others a mile away. Ringworm. We liked it anyway. We shoulda. Since we're in it, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about both of those issues there at the end.
I read it, it's almost like a little skipping stone, right? If you go up to, so we're barely anybody, we're all mourning incalculable losses. Who'd want us dead, comma, the full web unseen? And then the root system, infecting others a mile away, points back to me to that full web, right? So the full web unseen is this root system infecting others a mile away. Ringworm. We liked it anyway. We shoulda. I think the it goes back to the web or goes back to the root system. And I'm not really sure how ringworm works there, right? Other than maybe it's just, I don't know if it's an additional image or another way of saying the root system, but that's how I was reading it.
And the it is the web?
Yeah, the full web unseen. Who'd want us dead? The full web unseen. The root system infecting others a mile away. We liked it anyway.
And to me, the web is the world. It's everything. It's the open world. It's the real world.
The it is everything for you, Dagny.
For me,
Well,
it is.
And you know, and what I know, I don't know a whole lot about ringworm, thank God, but I do know, I do know that it's highly contagious, and both animals and humans can get it.
I kind
So-
of look at the ringworm, like kind of like that, like infectious, like contagious, like a being a part of the web, like in a kind of like a bad way, like how everyone's kind of like through the web, we're all contagious and affected by the way of the web. But in a more like, I kind of like how it's more of a bad note, like how like we're talking about how we're all like suffering these losses, but it's like also like ringworm, like we're all connected in the bad stuff too, and all that gross, contagious ringworm.
All the online negativity. Yeah, I mean, populism. It made me think of all of those things.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the who'd want us dead, to me had kind of a dual meaning. I don't know if it's what Glenn had in mind, but it was both kind of, that received negativity from others when people are trolling or just, saying shit to say shit, right? Not thinking about what other people are actually living through. But it was also the notion of like a first person shooter in a game, who would kill us. Who'd want us dead, the full web unseen. It just back into gaming, it made me think of that too, because a lot of these open world games, not a lot, but I should say some of the open world games are also first person shooter games.
I mean, it felt,
Fallout, so I'm,
ecstatic.
streaming now, and it's from that. Sorry, Jason.
Oh no, no, because everything you're saying is so illuminating, because it just felt to me this sort of ecstatic collapse. Like we have no idea I mean, grief is sort of underlying the poem, and grief is often accompanied by a desire for an alternative set of realities, that we should have done something differently, and so that we should have felt like a kind of collapse, but also like intuitively correct that this is a thing that accompanies grief, like we should have.
Oh, I love that, Jason, because my initial reaction before forcing myself to think about it, because I knew we'd be talking about it, but was that I kind of just liked being caught up in those final lines. And I love ecstatic collapse. That's genius.
Yeah.
We should call the episode that.
I highlighted that in my notes.
I mean, an Imago in psychoanalysis is the idealized version of the beloved.
Yeah.
And so already there's this kind of idea of the version of the lover that's lost. And then so with single ladies, like, right, the celebration, but the celebration both of singlehood, but also the kind of like, you lost me, right? That single ladies enacts, and I mean, there are a number of Beyonce songs that do this, where it's not my loss of you. It's not a breakup song about how sad it is, how much I miss you. If you leave me now, you take away the very something part of me. But it's you lost me. I'm amazing. You should have put a ring on it, right? Like,
Exactly.
I can get another you in a minute. That like I mean, one of the things that I think is so fascinating about this is that it's going towards the opposite of how grief, particularly after a breakup, is portrayed. In that, it's like, this is the song about how I'm the lost object. You should mourn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're quite right.
That's great.
I'm thinking we should vote.
I'm thinking we don't have to, but yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I don't have
On
thumbs, so I
three.
don't vote.
Everybody
Okay, so
have
we're
an
gonna
ecstatic
flip
clap.
thumbs.
Ecstatic
We
clap.
ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, vote.
So in.
It's so in. It's so. Thank you so very much, Glenn Shaheen. Thank you so much. And wait, there's more.
There's more.
There's more. Marion is going to read the next one for us, and Marion everybody will probably talk about the formatting here, but before they do, allow me this PSA. Go to pbqmag.org and take a look. Because even though all of these people are wonderfully articulate and can describe things like no others, you're going to have to see it. So go and look at the podcast page for this episode and take a peek at Power and Punish, so you see exactly how it's structured. So we'll wait right here. You go. Okay, you back? All right. So talk about it. I try to describe it a little bit for somebody who's driving in their car and
So I
cannot
love that you
stop.
called it a PSA, right? Public service announcement, but also a poetic structure announcement, because this sucker
Ooh, yeah.
Poetic
Right.
structure announcement.
Oh,
says,
yeah.
right? Looks like, okay, imagine a dartboard with stanzas around the dartboard and the title in the middle. Maybe?
Yep.
It's
Yes,
a
that's a good
bullseye.
one.
That's a very
Or
good.
a compass rose.
That's a good
Ooh,
one.
a compass. A compass. Yes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
face of a clock.
Clock
Basic-
is what I was thinking.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
little stanzas where each of the numbers would be, even
Yeah.
though it's not 12.
Oh, it's not
Right.
12, but still, if you visualize the clock, you might get it. Yeah.
Which leads us into how do you read this sucker?
Exactly. What's your
You
natural
so-
inclination, guys? What's your how
Dart.
would you read it? Well, how did you
Dart.
read it left on your own?
Chuck a dart, read a stanza, chuck a I'm sorry.
Really?
I'm joking.
Randomly?
I'm joking.
I
Yeah.
would start at the top and go clockwise around the circle. Although that might not be right. You could
I did
go
that, and I also tried the zigzag, top, left,
Yeah.
right, left,
right,
right,
left, right,
top.
left, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Ah.
think you have all the options, right? I think there's a correct way, and
Yeah.
the point of the page is right. This is composition by field. The page has options for the reader. I was thinking about and it's not that weird, right? I mean, Jody Gladding's work is sort of doing that all over the page now. If you go back to Talmud, right, it's written with a central block of text, and then there are pieces around it. Marshall McLuhan's later works, written with his son, have a central block of text, and then sort of radiuses going off to other comments about
Professor, hold on. We're taking notes.
Yes.
Professor.
Yeah, Professor Schneiderman, slow down.
Slow down. You just went Talmud, Marshall McLuhan,
Up to
composition
Jody
by field,
Gladding's.
right?
Guys, you're like dead in the air.
If you have a page, your reader is invited to enter it in multiple ways. I mean, even when you pick up a book of poems and you flip through it instead of reading it from start to finish, you're taking advantage of this kind of textual possibility, right?
Yeah.
And so whether you kind of find the right order and you go from start to finish clockwise, or whether you kind of move around and let your eye kind of be caught, this isn't that, I kind of want to say it's not that weird. It's not that radical. This is part of a tradition that's been going on for millennia that has to do with using pages as a container for texts.
Yeah, because print media has never had the option of forcing a reader to experience it in any one way. Love it.
Okay.
All
I think we're
right.
ready to hear it, Mare.
All right, here I go. So it's called Power and Punish. You give a little, but you get a lot. If I had my way, everybody would get a hot meal, but especially me and those I love. That's human nature. If you're interested in ruin, then you can have a piece of the action. Rubble is in high demand, but also in high supply. Look at all the unused roads. Can I tell you a little bit? Can I just tell you a little bit about origin? Nothing about politics, but everything about the sun, a constantly moving shadow. Hold up, this isn't a game, it's an inquest. This isn't a birthday bash, but a cakeless brunch. This isn't my love of fist, but the kick that follows. This isn't free press, a press nonetheless, as in the floor giving out mid-dance. That is the punishment for enthusiasm and chaos. I'm trying to make it all clear. What you try and what you get are never the same. This isn't a word game. It's a cold cock and broken tooth. You didn't really think I knew the truth, did you? And I'd tell you in front of all of these mourners, I've got my own problems. It's a pact of silence. And in the morning, we'll all feel the snap of hope that this day won't be the one that spins in, shot up and leaking fuel. I was never in charge. This was never my game. Power and Punish.
Oh, thanks, Marion. I like that reading. The clockwise reading was making
worked
sense
really
to
well.
me as you read.
I liked it better than letting my eye wander. When I just sort of moved around it randomly. It wasn't as satisfying as when you went methodically through the top to the ending.
Yeah.
It's a great ending to end there, to end at 10 o'clock. That's a really nice ending.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to being down at 6 o'clock.
Well, yeah, but read that last line of 6 o'clock. That's
trying to
also
make it all
pretty.
clear.
That's all
And
also pretty
chaos and
pretty
trying to
freaking
make it all
nice.
clear. Yeah.
Wow, Marion, could you read stanza 6 as an end? I'm calling it stanza 6. 6 o'clock. Oppressed nonetheless.
Yeah. Oppressed nonetheless, as in the floor giving out mid-dance. That is the punishment for enthusiasm and chaos. I'm trying to make it all clear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's interesting about it too, is the way each of these has an end stop. So they read like dollops, right? Like almost like little haiku on their own, right?
Yeah.
But the sequence also works, right? The sequence gives it that sense of almost propulsion or like a spiral, right? The sort of engine of that clock on the page, if we're reading in that direction, right?
When I was reading it by myself, it felt a little ungrounded. Like it felt kind of abstract. Like a lot of things weren't really connecting. And when I heard it in your voice, something about the kind of your vocal cords giving it a monologue quality and a kind of personality that I thought it worked really beautifully read out loud. And I wouldn't have expected that from this poem. I would have expected this poem to sort of be better silent, better on its own, better sort of serendipitously. And I'm really enjoying it much more in conversation. That like it actually is a very social poem.
Yeah, I want to echo that, Jason, because I felt a little lost with this piece compared to the one we read previously, where I was all over spending time with it on my own. But I thought, I'm not sure I'm making the right connections. But again, hearing Marion read it, it just started kind of clicking into place more.
Agreed. I really liked it a lot more when Marion read it.
This isn't a birthday bash, it's a cakeless brunch.
I love that. I know. Isn't that great?
I really admire the multiple ways it says what it is and what it isn't, right? It's not a game, right?
Yeah, this isn't a word game. It's a cold cock and a broken tooth. Yeah. Ow. It'd be interesting to know if Glenn planned it really to be spoken, kind of how it developed, because we don't get to know that backstory when we discuss these things.
Was anyone else thinking about Foucault?
Yeah.
Isabel's like, yeah.
I mean, one, visually it's a panopticon, right? The title can sort of see into all of the stanzas. And second, like discipline and punish, but power is so associated with Foucault that does anyone else want to, I'm not even sure I have anything to say. I'm just like Foucault. Isabel, what do you want to say about Foucault? Say something.
Yeah,
I totally I love Foucault, and I didn't really think of the panopticon until you said it, but I really like how especially a lot of the stanzas are connected, even though they're not next to each other. Like there's press, even though that they were read back to back, but there's like the game and the 7 o'clock and the 10 o'clock are both talking about games, how there's little connections in them, even though they're all being seen. But yeah, I really love the kind of power and this kind of pessimistic view on it that's being threaded throughout the poem.
Great observations.
I love the question. I mean, I find the questions really engaging. Like they're sort of can I tell you just a little bit about origin? You didn't really think I knew the truth, did you? There's this really interesting way in which the questions are both undermining and establishing the authority of the speaker.
And that strikes me as where Foucault comes into play as well, right? That sense of the endless way you can read this, right? And that each section is its own prison cell, right? Of an idea. And that's also about the way the reader is being constituted, in the engagement with the piece. It's lovely to be looking at this through that lens, right? Of power.
Wow. Are we talked out?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't ask us to talk about it in the ways that we usually talk about poems. And I think about, poets who kind of have a very particular structural style. Jody Gladding, who I mentioned earlier, or Leila Chati, where you kind of just have this, you've been taught to read it in a certain way, that as you kind of keep going through the structure of the poem, teaches you something, and then it becomes sort of valorized. But then if you have imitators, it's sort of it's the kind of thing that goes through an MFA program where everyone's doing this thing that's actually kind of not really working and not getting them to sort of realize their own vision, but sort of seem cool and fun. I trust it. I mean, in this one, I do think that the structure works really well. And I don't know if I'd want a whole book of them. I don't know if I would I don't know how deeply into it. And in some ways, it also reminded me of To Him That Just Is Contrapuntal, right? Where like you read down and then you read across, and it's designed to be read in these two different ways. But this almost feels infinite. Like it almost feels like there are so many ways in. But I maybe we are talked out, like we're ready to vote.
All right.
Before we do though, I think one of the things that we were second guessing ourselves on, Glenn Shaheen, is whether we could talk about this right on the podcast because
Yes.
Yeah.
so it wasn't so much that we were like surprised at the sort of formal maneuvers that he's making, right? But whether we could do it justice on the podcast was something we were second guessing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I just wanted
yeah.
to just, like say that, right? Slushies, like when we're making these decisions about what to talk about, sometimes the form of the thing is also helping us make a decision
Concern.
about what we can talk about, right?
Yeah. We liked the poem, but weren't sure we could explain it. But I think it worked.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did make this choice. And now we're gonna make another choice.
All
Here
right,
we go.
get ready.
Are you
Get ready for what are we calling it? Our ecstatic collapses.
Yes.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Ecstatic. 1, 2, 3, go.
Whoa.
And it's in. Surprise. Yay.
Bravo.
2 for 2, Glenn Shaheen. Thank you so very much.
2 for 2, Glenn Shaheen.
Oh,
You-
fantastic pieces. And we just learned more about ourselves in terms of how we discuss different styles of poetry too.
I don't know, Dagny.
Thank
I learned
you
a
for that.
lot about myself in general. I have a great insult for others now.
Yes,
And
indeed. Excellent.
yeah, listen, Slushies, would love to hear from you. Tell us if you agree or disagree with our voting and how we manage this and how much you're enjoying things. And, thanks for listening to the pod. But keep reading. Remember to read.
Reading is good. Don't let AI do it for you.
Not reading or writing, exactly.
Right?
Right.
Yes,
right,
we'll
right.
never
Yeah,
have to
AI
read or write
could've-
again. The computers will do it, and we'll
Right.
just
AI
like
could've
visit and be like,
never-
"How's it going, computer?"
Right?
AI
Flush
could have
pile.
never written that poem. Never,
Exactly.
ever, ever. Right?
Yeah.
Either of them. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. Woohoo!